passion, whatever contains the most passion, no matter what it is, first. Act on it to the best you are able. Number two, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, until the excitement wanes, making sure you're not the one dampening the excitement with your own belief system. If you're not, then just act on it as best you can, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further. Number three, act on your passion with no insistence, no assumption as to what the outcome ought to look like, where you think it should take you, so on and so forth, because you really don't know what the best outcome really needs to look like. Number four, remain in a positive state no matter what manifests. Even if what manifests is something you objectively don't prefer, you have to know from a positive position that it's got to be there for a reason that could serve you in a positive way. And if you maintain that positive vibration, you will understand how to use what you don't prefer in a way that you do. And it will serve you. You will extract the benefit from the situation rather than negativity from it by remaining in a positive state and knowing that it's got to be there for a reason. Those are the 4 steps that open up all the tools in the kit that begin to function automatically for you when you follow that 4-step formula as precisely as you possibly can.
Okay, and that's exactly what these questions are about, fine-tuning my precision in following those steps. So
all right.
The first question is, when you say excitement or passion, that also means most positive feeling. Is that accurate?
It can be. Again, it's what you're attracted to first. And this goes for any level in your life. In other words, it can be very simple. At any moment, you can have a number of choices available to you of things that you could take some action on. Taking a walk, reading a book, talking to a friend, eating a meal, what have you. Whichever one seems a little bit more exciting, a little bit more attractive, getting you to focus on it with some kind of idea of that's what feels right now, do that one first, as far as you can take it, until you can take it no further. And just keep doing that every time the excitement wanes or you've completed that particular action. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Very much so.
All right.
The next question is, do you have some sort of mechanism for discerning when, say, I'm making my excitement appear as my anxiety or my anxiety appear as excitement? Is there a mechanism to assist in discerning that?
Yes, it's called self-honesty. All you have to do is be aware that you really, when you stop and think about it, when you let yourself be your true self, you know the difference between what feels exciting and what feels like anxiety. All of you do. So it's just honest self-examination, honest self-investigation. You know the difference if you are honest with yourself.
I really do think I do. Can I give an example of something that I would call subtle, so to speak, to me at least?
Of course.
So, for example, most of the time when I feel like exercising or when I want to exercise, it is my excitement. Now, sometimes it's me saying, well, maybe I should be exercising in this case. And in those cases, it can be counterproductive if my body actually wants rest in that case. But the reason that I guess it's subtle to me is because I just assume, which I know isn't the wisest idea, I kind of assume that some things are almost always positive if they fit into a particular routine, but maybe the routine's off. Okay, I see what you're saying now. This is making more sense.
Yes. Yes. You just have to realize that in a sense, and this is a generalization, I know there might be exceptions, because sometimes it can be your excitement saying, hey, why don't you exercise now? But sometimes if you actually have to ask the question of yourself, should I exercise now? That might be an indication that that's coming from anxiety and a sense of what you're expected or should do, as opposed to it actually being your natural excitement, which if it was your natural excitement, you would probably just be exercising without even thinking about it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now, there can be exceptions to this. That's why it takes honest self-examination, self-investigation to know the difference. But if you just stop and think about it, you can probably tell the difference.
Yeah, I completely agree, actually.
All right. Next.
Can you deliberately develop a sort of language between you and your higher mind, a sort of agreement where maybe one, this equals that sort of agreement. Can you do that sometimes?
There is already a language between you and your higher mind. That's what we're talking about. Passion, that sensation, excitement, curiosity, love, passion, creativity, that is your physical translation of the communication from your higher mind, because it's speaking to you in an energy language. But that's how your body translates that energy language. Passion is what lets you know you are being communicated with by your higher mind. And the message is, this is you. This is who you are. Act on this now. That's what the higher mind is telling you when you have that sensation. So there's already a direct communication. Your response needs to be the taking of the action, because the language of physical reality is action, not words. So when you do a physical action, that's when the higher mind knows you have heard it and are responding to it. And then it can send you more messages. Do this next. Now do this. Now do this. By sending that sensation that you translate as passion. Act on this now. Act on this one now. Following that thread of passion, which is the communication from the higher mind. And the more you keep acting, the more you will be given more opportunities to act on your passion. If you're not acting, you're not speaking the language of physical reality, you're not communicating with the higher mind, you're not responding to it in the proper language. And if you're not acting on what it's already said to you, what it's already given you to act on, why should it send you more opportunities to act on your passion if you're not willing to act on what it's already sent you? The communication is already there. That's what we're describing.
Okay, that's perfect. Yes, I just had to act on it more, I suppose.
Yes.
So next question is related to acting to the best of my ability.
Yes.
Once you're in the activity or in the action, should that be your dominant priority, your primary priority, to be acting to the best of your ability?
Why wouldn't it be?
Maybe it could be still being in tune with that sensitivity. I guess that would still qualify as acting to the best of your ability. Okay.
The idea of acting to the best of your ability also takes into account the parameters that exist in your particular reality, in your society, what you're actually capable of doing while maintaining integrity. In other words, you're not breaking your laws, you're not being unethical, things like that, because your society says we've agreed that these are the parameters that everyone will operate in order to be of service to everyone else and allow everyone to do what they need to do. So the idea is not only in your own personal ability to act, but also to what you have agreed are the parameters that allow you to take an action. That's all you need to understand about act on the best to your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further. And if you cannot act on it any further because of any of these parameters, that's your first clue that you need to look around for the next thing that contains more excitement than anything else and act on that next. Because whether it seems connected on the surface or not, the excitement lets you know it is connected to your path.
Perfect. Yeah, makes sense. So again, relative to best of acting to the best of my ability.
Yes.
There's a rule that I've heard, not a rule, but a suggestion going around, the 85% rule, where you act to the best of your ability to about 85% so that you leave that 15% for sort of being more relaxed and being more receptive.
Well, if you want to look at it that way, that's fine. But that's also saying that there's some kind of an assumption that if you act 100% as best you can, that you can't be relaxed. Why would you buy into something like that if you don't necessarily prefer to?
That's a great point too. My goodness. Okay.
Do it whatever way works for you. But the point is that that's just a way that some people have of interpreting the idea that works for them. But it's not a hard line fact that it is literally accurate in terms of percentages. Acting 100%, really, if you're following your passion, would by definition include your ability to relax, because why would your passion contain stress?
Mm-hmm.
You follow? That's a misunderstanding of the definition of passion. That somehow you have to shortchange it in order to be relaxed, instead of understanding that you can go full steam ahead, but full steam ahead would also mean that there is the capability of doing that in a way that allows you to be relaxed.
Perfect.
It's a more inclusive, holistic understanding that the definition is the definition, and a different definition is a different reality.
Okay. I agree again. Now, acting as far as you can. So to me, there are three possibilities that I see about this, and one would be until something else is more exciting.
Yes.
Two would be until it's fully resolved or it's come to full fruition.
Yes.
So of course, there can be more connections and aspects, however, full fruition. And lastly would be if you appear to be stuck and it might be becoming seemingly excessively difficult, perhaps it would be time to do something else.
Or first, always first. If your excitement or ability wanes, first examine whether your beliefs are making it appear to wane, or whether it is really waning as part of your synchronicity.
Yes. So if it feels excessively difficult, to me, that would mean there's an opportunity to break it down more and see if there's more gradual steps that you could take so that it is easier.
Or completely different steps that are more in alignment with the way that works for you.
Okay.
If you have determined, however, that no such steps exist, and it's truly your excitement waning synchronistically to show you that something else needs to be done, then if you are, again, honest in your self-examination as to whether you're the one dampening the excitement or whether it's dampening on its own synchronistically, then you'll know what to do.
Okay.
Because many times you could continue to do something similar if you simply allow yourself to do it in a more exciting way. That can sometimes be the message. You may not be doing it in the way that actually works for you, can be creating the difficulty that you experience.
That makes a lot of sense. Next question is relative to the expectation or having no expectation or insistence on the outcome. And that is
no assumption or assistance. You can expect that something will happen, but you just don't have to be very specific about it. What you can expect is that if you allow it to be the natural outcome, it will serve you best. You can expect that. But when we say expectation, we mean insistence or assumption of a particular form that in your mind's estimation may not actually be the best outcome, yet it may have been trained to think that it must be.
Okay. So one example of this would be, say it's the NBA Finals and you're at Game 7, and before the game, maybe the professional player is visualizing and vibrating winning the championship for the purpose of connecting to that parallel reality stream or being...
That's fine. That's fine. That's the visualization part. And it is important to stay in that vibration, but drop any insistence on what the outcome odds to be, because you don't actually know what the best outcome for you would be until it happens.
So could losing the championship be the best outcome? Oh, I suppose.
Yes, because then what that puts the person in touch with may be the most important thing they actually need to get in touch with. Because remember, it's not necessarily about winning the game. It might be more important for them to have a knowledge of the reaction they have to losing. Or maybe not winning the game will create a different scenario than otherwise would have happened that would actually put them where they need to be. That's actually more important to them than having won the game and winding up somewhere else. You have to allow yourself to know that what happens is what needs to happen. As long as you are in the state of being that is the best state of being, the state of being of allowing for the best possible outcome, but not insisting what best means, then you're in the proper state.
Okay. So you might become more focused. Your desire might be stronger. You might take different actions for the next year because of the outcome, etc.
Yes, and it might teach you something about yourself in a very different way and in things that have nothing to do with the game at all.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Again, that's the importance of the fourth step of the formula. You remain in a positive state no matter what happens, because it's not about what happens. It's about what you do with what happens that matters. And if you remain in a positive state, no matter what happens, you will always get a benefit from it, even if it's not the one you thought you would get. But you won't get that, and you won't experience that if you don't remain in the same positive state in which you created the experience. This is the secret of visualization. By all means, you can imagine and visualize a particular, a specific outcome as the thing that gets you in that excited state. But as soon as you're in the excited state, you have to drop the picture because you don't really know for sure that that's really the best outcome. Let your higher mind bring you what you actually need at that moment that is truly going to serve you the best. And you have to know that that's what's going to happen. Even if what manifests is something that you objectively don't prefer, if it manifested, then you have to know it's there for a reason that can serve you. And by staying in a positive state, you will get the benefit of why that's there, instead of insisting that something has gone wrong and then suddenly you cannot get the benefit. You can only see the negative side of it.
Perfect. Would you say that having no insistence on the outcome also assists with being more process oriented, more focused on what is needed out of you in order to even aim to do what you want to do?
It's not about what you want to do. It's about what you need to do. And what you need to do will be shown to you in the present moment.
Okay. How do plans fit into the formula?
Again, you can plan. You can plan if you want as part of the process, as long as you allow yourself to have a plan where the plan can change according to the flow of what happens.
Okay, perfect. So I kind of see there's almost a path of no resistance or a path of very little resistance, and there's a path of least resistance. Yes. And they're kind of different pacings in a sense. They have different.
Well, yes and no. When we use the term path of least resistance, that allows for there to be an experience of no resistance at all, because then that would be the least.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
We're not really talking about degrees in that sense. Just allow for the path of least resistance. That could mean no resistance at all.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. That's great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Good day.
You too.
Always.